Hey, it's Johnny Fish with Metalhead Whiskey Snobs. We're here at Jim Beam. We're getting ready to go in, get some lunch. Then we're going to do our Knob Creek barrel pick. Follow along. Well, it's a pretty cool little restaurant here. There's Mr. Lycan, Miss Shaw, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Sam, my beautiful lass. Look out there. This place is fancy. I got a couple of the bottles I want up here, but they're not for sale. It's a 3-course meal. Half the shit I don't eat, but you know. Let's see. Trying shit I ain't never eaten before, might as well. Let me get some more of them cheese. That right there, whatever dressing that is. Delicious. There's a funky pizza. What's on this again? Little chunky tomatoes. And Knob Creek Single Barrel Select.
Here we do a little bit of everything from production to maturation to bottling to management. The Boston site's about 10 minutes down the road. They call that the Booker No site. They're only making Jim Beam, and they do about double the amount of production that we do. So we do about 1,000 plus barrels here in a day. They do about double that there, and they're only doing Jim Beam. Rickhouse wise, we got about 100 rickhouses in the state of Kentucky, about 3.2 million barrels resting. So that right there, that's going to pull out for your grain. So we get about 10 to 15 truckloads of grains today. The big side of the grain, you're going to go on the other side of campus. You'll have trucks back up right here. They'll get probed, so they're going to look at different depths of the grain, looking for quality. So your corn, hour to an hour and a half away. Your rye and your malted barley, Canada, Dakotas, Idaho, Montana, Norway, Germany. We can get, and sometimes you get Kentucky grains that are rye and malted barley. It's just looking for cold and dry climates. You usually get about 10 to 15 truckloads of grain at this campus a day. Booker No, I think at one point was going through like 1 million pounds of corn in a day. I mean, corn's going to be our dominant grain. But over here, we play with a few other grains. Today, they're making Bookers, so that's going to be corn, rye, malted barley in your mash bill. So they get pro through here, then they run through a hammer mill, basically turn it into a fine, floury substance, and then we're ready to cook it up. At the end of Prohibition, we opened back up. Jim Beam was about 71, 72 years old. He captured a yeast strain on his front porch. We've kept it alive for almost 100 years. Right? The only other yeast strain we have is the old Granddad yeast strain. We acquired them in the 80s. We use that for old Granddad, Basil Hayden. This one right here, your Jim Beam, is going to be pretty much your traditional yeast strain. Yes, yeast gives you heat, CO2, and alcohol. It's about 10 to 15% flavor profile in your whiskey. Most distilleries do not propagate their own yeast. And what I mean by that is they don't have their own yeast strain that they're constantly replicating. There are a few that do, but this is the most financially inefficient way to make whiskey. All right, it'd be much easier if we bought our yeast from a third-party source, added enzymes to our product to yield more. We don't do that shit. All right, so we're doing it the old-fashioned way, even though we are doing mass production. You ever had like a blue moon? Imagine like a really chunky blue moon. That's kind of what our yeast strain would taste like. So in here is pretty much homage to post-prohibition era distilling moving forward. So when you come in here, you see a Baker Beam, you see a Booker No, and then you see a Fred and Freddy No. So the two major brands we're making here is Bookers and Bakers. We have about 15 operators that work in this facility. They go on 3 different shifts. We have some supervisors here. We also have people working in blending labs, work up with the future of what Little Book could be, other components as well. So all the future of Beam is pretty much in this facility. Like I said, we're only doing about 50 barrels a day, but that way if we have an it's on a smaller scale. This facility originally was kind of built to test all the things we were doing for the last 100 years just to make sure we're doing it the right way. And we've kind of figured out we were doing it the right way, maybe fix a few things, but other than that, we're kind of focusing on the future now. So this whole process right here starts production. So the grains get cooked up. So I got my cooker, my drop tub right here on the far side. That's my water tank. So we have a lake across the street that we pull from. Biggest issue we deal with is geosmin. You ever heard of geosmin? Greek, earth smell. Beets. You ever had beets? Yeah, beets have a really, really earthy component. That's geosmin. Some people don't test for it in their bourbon. We do because we don't want it in our bourbon. You can't distill it out. You can't cook it out. You can only dilute it out. So using natural water, that's a constant problem we're dealing with. A lot of people use city water. Biggest issue they deal with is like maybe having high amounts of fluoride in the water. We just want something a little more natural and pure. But jowls is a big issue, and 2-MIP. Algae grows in the water, same effect. You get like a muskiness, like it smells like a basement. So that tank over there is pulling from your lake. We're just using the water to heat and cool with and cook with. Then we send it back. So we send it back in better condition than we take it. I got my cooker right here. It's like a big pressure cooker. This is my drop top. This is a holding container. They're gonna pump that mash over here, start a new cook, and they're gonna pump this through this heat exchange and then send it to fermentation. This goes in at about 140 degrees, it's just sitting here. I wanna get it down to 70 degrees so when I add my yeast, I don't kill it. So they pump it through this massive heat exchange, cools it down. That's it. So this is about day one. This is about 7 hours in. It's like oatmeal. It's like day one, that's how it's going to be. It's going to be the consistency of oatmeal. It's going to be sweet like Frosted Flakes. You see how it's sweet there, right? Yeah. Sugary, right? So that yeast is in there starting to act like Pac-Man to slowly eat up all those sugars. So this is a day one. We're about to go look at one they're about to drop. It's about 72 hours in. Over here, we'll play with stuff. So some days we'll do an extended ferment, do 5 days, keep it cold longer.
Walkity, walkity, walk. It kind of feels good on my food.
This is what they call distiller's beer. All right, it's really chunky. Imagine you had like 3-week-old eggnog and a case of Natty Light and blended it together. All right, that's the consistency of what you got. Right, it's about 8 to 10% alcohol. Now we want to concentrate that. So you said you work for Coors.
Yeah.
Right? So we do a lot what breweries do. We just don't quit. We keep going. We persevere. Right? Now what's different is in American distilling and brewing, you would separate the grains ahead of time, maybe like a wort. Same thing they do like in Ireland, Scotland, and parts of Japan. We ferment and we distill with the grains. So it's kind of a messy process, but you try to see the difference between about 10 hours in or 7 to 10 hours in versus like 70 hours in. Right? Big difference. All I want to do with this, send it down to a beer well, and then send it to the still. And then circle, this one's not ready to drop. That one they got on steam. Now, if you've been to some distilleries, they have open tanks and they're made of wood. Nothing wrong with that. We like to control the environment. So all of ours are closed and made of stainless. They can steam clean these in about 30 to 40 minutes, start a new run. The ones that are made of wood take like 3 to 4 hours. Time is money.
All that stuff over there, that mash, that sits for about usually 1 to 3 days. Sometimes we do 5. Then we're gonna send it over here to the still. This still's is that replica, the one across the street, just much smaller. What's gonna happen is you're gonna take all that distiller's beer, you're gonna shoot it up to the 17th tray. You see where the eyeglasses are? You have trays where they are. They're like flat colanders, right? So up at the top, there are 21 trays, but we're gonna go to the 17th. So we're gonna shoot out there, right? So it's like a lot of pancake batter, right? Coming out, it's cascading down. It kind of looks like it's staying in the same spot, but it's actually going down. Liquids and solids fall, right? I don't really want that. I want the alcohol in there. So I'm injecting hot steam to extract your alcohol vapor, right? So vapors are gonna rise up, liquids and solids fall, that's a byproduct. So your dry house, farmers will get wet slop, feed that to pigs. So your waste is gonna go away, hot steam is gonna extract your alcohol vapor, vapors rise up. Jim Beam, Knob Creek, Booker's, Baker's. It is the same recipe, it's the same mash bill. Basil Hayden, Old Granddad, same recipe, same mash bill. Mash bill here does not really dictate our product. Distillation proof does. So when I'm running a column still, I can go from making Jim Beam turn into Knob Creek in about 5 to 6 minutes. All I'm doing, changing the temperature of the still. When I change the temperature of the still, I affect proof. When I affect proof, I'm ultimately affecting flavor. But y'all wanna try some of this? This is Booker's right here. You wanna try some of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do a little more.
Don't run off. You about to get some moonshine.
So that's the whole thing. So when you talk to people in operations, they'll say, like, look, it doesn't matter how good the barrel is or how long it sits in the barrel. If it tastes like shit coming off the still, the barrel's not gonna do much. Booker's is unique because it comes off at 125. So what you're drinking is at 125. That's gonna go in the barrel at 125, right? Other ones like Knob Creek and Jim Beam and Baker's, they come off at different proofs. We cut them down for barrel entry. So like Jim Beam has a barrel entry proof of 125, so does Knob Creek, but they got water on the front end. Booker's never gets water.
This is the oil facility where we do like grain to barrel in one site. All that liquid you saw is gonna go in these cistern tanks, and she's slowly gonna fill them up. I don't think she has to do the rest of these today. They only do about 50 a day, so this will get through the weekend. Fill it up right there, they'll cap it off, and then she'll kick it over, she'll roll it on that truck right there. And then it'll get taken up, they'll go to a warehouse. All of them are going to be labeled with this RFID tag. That's basically a social security number for the barrel. Over here, we pretty much do a level 4 char on this stuff, but since we play with stuff, over here we may do a level 1 char. Empty barrel's about 100 pounds, full barrel's about 600 pounds. You know, so when it sits, it will sit, you know, in our warehouses for your Knob Creek, probably 2nd floor to 7th floor, depending on the size of the warehouse. It's usually the 2nd floor to 2nd highest floor. You're probably today looking at about half a barrel worth of whiskey because you lose about 10% your first year, about 5 to 6% every year after that. But basically, all these barrels were hand selected by pretty much Freddie, and the idea was to do like different blends. Some of these are Knob Creek, some of these are brown rice, some of these are single malt. Some of these are a high rye, some of them are probably like a triticale, just depends. You know, we could be playing with stuff where, you know, take it from, you know, a traditional rick house and then put it maybe like in a palletized rick house. So then you can get, you're not really looking at loss of juice, and then you can still get age on it at the same time. And so even though it could be a 15 to 20-year-old bourbon, it could have the flavor components of something that you really want between 8 and 12. Because sometimes there's older bourbons, you know,
It's just
too
pure
oaky. And it's kind of like, you know, they say it's like licking a boot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people like that. And just as you're filming, you probably want to look at some of these old bottles. So. That one with the red wax over there, that's Beam's oldest bottle. If you want to get closer and take a photo of that, feel free.
The red what?
The one with the red wax over there on the first shelf. That's kind of like the gist of it around here. Do y'all want to try some shit before we go to the warehouse or no?
Yeah.
So this right here. Surprise, it's not out. Probably won't be out for a while. And this isn't the final product, it's just a component. You don't want to drink the whole thing, you don't want to.
Oh, I don't have a Jim Beam cup like that. Sample off for resale. Ain't gonna have no damn name on it, dog.
This is 105 proof, so we play with some things on this. Doesn't mean we're gonna stick with that, but this is kind of where we're playing with stuff. So we haven't really finalized it, but this is kind of a prototype of some stuff we may be doing.
You sure that's only 105 proof? That's spicy.
But like, this is the lowest stuff you'll be drinking today.
How much of this is the original buildings?
Not a ton. You got some buildings that were basically from like the 40s and 50s, but there's like one building on the other side that's still got railroad ties for support. We got 5 stations up there, so when you get out, you can just head to a station. Does anyone want hand warmers?
No.
Okay, fair enough. So we're gonna be here in Warehouse K. Everybody has their own little station. You have 4 glasses, you have a bottle of water, you have a pen, you have a spot where you can take notes. So you want to hit there, and there, here, and here. You just don't want to hit there. You just want to do it really hard. You're not gonna hurt the barrel. So.
All right, one y'all.
Sweet. Harder than that. There you go.
Pull the plug out the boom.
There you go. Smells good, right?
Damn, liking.
There it is.
Oh, you lost it now.
It's okay. A barrel, B, C, D. So we'll start with A, then we'll go to B, C, and D, and then you're good to start drinking. Can we get everybody in one? Yeah, I think we can. Cool. Like I said, if you want any help, I'm happy to. If y'all do barrel picks, I'll let you run it the way you want to run it.
I'm warming up the barrel.
He's like, let me put the bottle down.
Oh, you put it down underneath. It ain't going nowhere.
You're not going nowhere now. Oh, no.
Oh, is that what that hand warmer is for, to warm up the whiskey?
It's really just so you don't stay cold.
I didn't think about this part being in February.
Some people do it like in mid-January after we had the first snow, and it was actually like in the 40s, so it wasn't that bad. But people that booked in February, we had someone cancel midweek because of the snow, and I was like, yeah, I don't blame you.
So who picks these barrels to begin with?
Single barrel goes through a kind of extensive process. Your barrels usually get tested at least in the lots, I think once a year. And then for them to get here after the 9-year mark, they go through a few other tests. And then essentially they get selected to be for single barrel if they meet the criteria. Now in the old days, some of these probably wouldn't have been able to meet the criteria due to proof.
Let me see one of them warming pads. I want to see if it helps warm up the juice. 'Cause I noticed before, like, the only way you can drink Rumple Mints is on ice.
Yeah, that's fair.
You take it and you shake it in an ice with the ice thing and you pour it out. It's fucking great, man. It tastes like a red and white peppermint candy. Once it warms up, man, it knocks you stupid. So all these are at least 9 year, right?
All are minimum 9 years.
So they could be up, just not down.
All yours are going to be 9 years in a few months.
I get like 2 or 3 though. That's it.
That's fine. Usually most people get oat, vanilla, and caramel. Those are
That's it, man.
those are really all 3 you need.
Occasionally I do pick up some crazy shit, and it's like, I pick up food, man. Like, that smells like brisket. What are you talking about? Butterscotch, weird flour things that they come up with. Here's my nay-nay. Definitely tasted better on the second round, but I don't like that popsicle flavor, popsicle stick. So once you pick the barrel, when did they take the barrel? Does it just get moved aside before the next batch of people?
You see all those right down there to your right? Those are selected over the last 2 weeks. Since it's been cold and things have been delayed, they haven't been moving as fast. But all by Monday, all that shit or Tuesday, all that shit should be gone.
We're only eliminating 1 to begin with. Well, I mean, we could eliminate 2, I guess. I mean, since I take forever. Let me double check my C here. Oh, I definitely like B. I like B. You want to eliminate 2 then?
All right. Well, if y'all are down between which B and D,
B and D.
step out of the warehouse real fast.
I mean, I still want to drink the rest of them. Is it easier to eliminate 2 and go on? So you're like,
It can be, yeah.
you're like, my day is over.
Oh shit.
Now you've tasted between summer and winter, right? Do you think winter has more flavor than summer?
I don't know. Because all that happens over a slow period of time. I think it's harder to pull flavor during the winter just because it's so cold.
Yeah. That's what I get. Like I was saying earlier about certain things, you know, you can get them cold, you can drink the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Once they warm up,
Miller High Life, you can drink it ice cold, but once it gets
once it gets 33 degrees,
once it's not cold anymore, it's kind of hard to put back.
I'm going with the left.
Okay. Left was D as in dog.
Okay. So
Right
D.
was B as in boy. A would have been Warehouse X. So X is over at Chapiz. You ever seen the movie Stripes? Bill Murray. When they invade Czechoslovakia, that was like filmed at that site. So there's 4 warehouses there. So there's X, Z, W, and 1. Yeah, it was 4. So this one would have been in the 3rd floor, 13th Rick. So imagine like 13 rows down, 2nd tier. So it's about right there. This one was 123.11 proof. Would have been filled August 27th, 2015. This one right here would have been Warehouse Z, which is over there next to Warehouse X in Chapiz. Would have been on the 4th floor, 8th Rick, 2nd tier. Would have been filled September 24th, 2015. And it was 125.6 proof.
Okay.
And then B. B would have been Warehouse W. Been on the 2nd floor, 19th Rick, 1st tier. Would have been filled, oh gosh, they keep changing the lights. December 14th, 2015. And it was 117.5 proof. And then the one y'all went for, Warehouse 5, which is a 7-story warehouse, would have been 4th floor, 97th Rick, 1st tier. Would have been filled September 9th, 2015, 118.5 proof.
Oh, we were just under the 120.
But it's pure.
I can sign this, right?
With this.
Not much of a marker left, but I did it first with this. That thing is, no, that's the only fat marker.